Hello, Mr. Dakis.
Hello.
I appreciate you for stopping by today. Well, the reason why we're getting together again is to talk about the observation, which is just called our post-observation, which occurred on February 22nd. The lesson I observed, the skill that you conducted in your classroom consisted of math. It was differentiation, and it was order of operations.
Right.
It is what it was. So right off the bat, I just want to tell you thank you for working with me, and thank you for just allowing me to come into your classroom. Okay, so overall, how do you feel the lesson went, Mr. Dakis?
I think it went very well.
Mm-hmm.
I had all of the stuff for the stations ready. I had my assessments that I was gearing off of ready. I had all the whole group lesson that I wanted to work with the kids and go over the strategies. I had my PowerPoint. I thought I was really organized and ready for the lesson. I thought that I could challenge everybody and it would work.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't always work.
So what you're saying is, for the most part, you're satisfied.
Yes, I was very satisfied, but I saw gaps
Okay.
that would help me.
Okay. And you're satisfied, but you also see a need of somewhere your lesson could improve in some way.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a co-teacher, and I always appreciate his help and his input on things that we work together on, trying to figure out ways that the students can be challenged or that they will remember the skill.
Okay. So with your co-teacher support, you feel competent
Yes.
in your classroom, a little bit more competent because
Yes.
he's there to assist.
Yes.
So I want to ask, why did you choose differentiation this time in math opposed to writing?
The reason I chose the math lesson was because I have target students that are really high, and then I have really 2 to 3 year behind students. I have a real range of students in my class. And we had done a previous assessment on the orders of operation, and 38% of them did not master that skill. So I felt like I needed to go back, review it, try some different strategies, try some different things to see if I could bring that number up from 38% to mastering that skill or more.
Okay. So you're saying that you had 38%
Yes.
of your students, I guess you gave an assessment on
Right,
the art of operation,
yes,
problem
it was
solving, and 38% of them didn't master the skill.
Right.
So this was a review lesson,
Yes.
and because of that, you decided to get with your co-teacher
Yes.
and say, hey, we need to differentiate and find out what's going on.
Right.
Okay.
Because we want all students to be successful in every task and every standard that we are teaching, and not all students learn the same way. So we need to differentiate, and by talking to my co-teacher and other people, and they come up with different ideas. So in my different groups, I could, try to work different things to see if it would work.
So you feel comfortable now with speaking with other teachers and your co-teacher as
Yes.
far as to help you
Oh,
plan
yes.
better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's better for the students if you can, I feel like if I can work with other teachers to try to feel, because not everybody teaches the same, not everybody learns the same.
Right. So within your lesson that I observed, which activities did you provide that you felt were differentiated, and why did you choose those particular lessons to differentiate? Why did you choose those?
Well, I did a guided math lesson.
Okay.
And we had a PowerPoint and a slide to go over the order of operations. Okay? They have already written the order of operations and all the steps in their math journals. So they had those out. We also did a guided math group, and the way we broke into those guided math groups was we went over a few problems, and the students that did not master those problems, we broke them down into what problems they had in the mastering, and that led them to where they would go in the stations that we had.
Okay. So within the stations that I observed in the lessons, those particular children that went to the stations, it wasn't planned who would go to the stations. You
No.
knew that by observing what they could and could
Yes.
not do throughout that particular lesson.
Right, through the whole group lesson and everybody working problems and everything. That's how I put them into their groups.
Okay. So you feel pretty good about that, the way
Yes.
that the way that they went to their groups.
Yes,
So
yes.
you're strong about that, and okay. So let me ask you this then. If you feel strong about it, is there any part of your lesson that you think that you can improve on?
Oh, yes. I can always improve.
Yeah.
But one in particular, I have a little bit of trouble and need help, is in my target group. I know they had mastered the skill. I still had to give them, a station to go to, but by working on the order of operation, I knew they would be done quickly, and they could do it on their own. So I didn't really, I just gave it to them and told them to go do it, and they went and worked on their own. I need to challenge them more, and I'm not really sure how I can do that.
Okay. So you're saying with your target group, although they had something to do, just like everybody else, you felt
Right.
that you were accommodating their needs. You just felt that you kind of let them off on their own.
Yes,
But-
they were just to do their own stuff, their own task, and just report back. I checked their work afterwards, but I never went back and made sure that it was really challenging them.
Okay. So you're saying that because you didn't get up to make sure what they were doing, that you feel that that's something that you need to change in the future.
Yes.
You feel that their work was not challenging for them. It was kind of like, all right, they've mastered this skill or that skill, so you gave them something to do.
Yes.
They didn't grow from
No,
that
I
particular.
don't think so.
Okay. Oh, well, that's honest feedback. That's called self-reflecting, and we've talked about that all the time. So, okay. Well, if or when you teach, well, I don't want to say if you teach this lesson differently because you just told me that. Well, let me just share with you some of the things that I
Okay,
witnessed.
sure. That would be
When I walked into your classroom, I noticed that you were extremely organized, like you always are, extremely prepared. You had the stations already set up.
Right.
And I can tell that this is not the very first time you've done this, so because the students were familiar with the station.
Right.
So I don't want to say that I like, but I observed the way that the students were ready to go and they were prepared after they knew what to do, after their names were written on the
Right.
board, showing where they should go. You had your standards on the board. You had exemplary work there, so they were able to see how their work should look.
Right.
So that actually helped them as well. You also got up during the lesson from your guided math group and you kind of walked around to see what others were doing. But as you said, with that target group, you kind of left them alone.
Right.
So within that, I wanted to say that compared to our pre-conference that we had, our pre-observation, you have grown from that. That is something that I'm witnessing you grow in, which is nice. So what have you learned from this experience? It can be this experience about this lesson, or it can be the experience throughout our networking together. What have you learned?
Well, it takes a lot of planning to differentiate for all levels. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of talking to other teachers, talking to you. The best feedback is from other teachers when they see you do something. With Mr. Owens in here, it's really good because if he doesn't think this is working, then we can go over here and he sees it's not working, we try something else. If I see something he's doing we really help each other with the differentiation. Reflecting. After I teach a lesson, at the end of the day, I kind of sit back and I have my plans ready for the next day, but I think about, did it really work that well? Did it really go like I wanted it to? Did they really understand what I was saying? If not, I have to, look at the lessons for the next few days and maybe tweak them a little bit so that I can maybe sneak something in that they, might have missed or another way. Hey guys, this is easier, we work it this way. I just think it's important that people don't think they think they can't learn.
Right.
Everybody can learn from everything. And something I've learned from this experience is that asking for help, people are very willing to give you help.
Right, right.
And that's why I would really like to team teach with you next year.
I would be honored if we team taught together
We would
next
be
year.
awesome.
We'd be an awesome team next year.
Yes.
We really would be. But ultimately, as you were saying, you feel confident now
Yes.
about differentiating in your class.
Yes.
This experience has caused you to step out of the box, to ask for help, to seek new resources,
Yes.
and to make you enjoy teaching
Yes.
again. And I wanted to say that that is something that I have actually witnessed within this lesson. From the beginning of this journey that we're on, I have witnessed you grown in that area. So I wanted to commend you on that, which is, that's a big strength. So do you think that the student journals that they're reflecting, do you still utilize those in the classroom as well?
We utilize the journals daily. They reflect on what they have learned, what they have problems with, or what they want help with.
Okay.
And we share a couple of them at the end of the lesson, at the end of the day. We will share a couple of them, and if they need help, I make notes of that. If they say they're having problems here, I make notes. And we try to do a little one-on-one, maybe when they first get here in the morning or something, to try to get them back up where the others are so they don't feel lost.
So you use the journals as a formative assessment.
Yes.
And that helps you plan as well and
Yes.
differentiate.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're not always going to raise their hand in front of other people and say, I don't understand this, I'm lost, but if they can write it down and they know nobody's going to read it but you, there are a lot of times they get really expressive in their writing. And that's another way to, keep the writing flowing.
Well, it has been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure.
It's been a wonderful pleasure.
I am so happy to see how you have utilized the journals and utilized your very own journal and utilized Mr.
Yes.
Owens, how you all have come together and that things are finally picking up and that those scattered pieces of the puzzle are finally there.
They're getting there.
So that is great news for you, and that's something to be proud of. But I thank you so much, Mr. Dacus. This has been awesome. Your lesson. And take this lesson, and I want you to utilize this lesson and look over it and see if there's something that you would want to enhance besides the target students. Right. But ultimately, it's awesome to see how you are reflecting. Okay?
Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you.
I thank you for all your help.
You're welcome, Mr. Dacus.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All righty, thanks.